Welcome back to AFTV, everyone, and as we have done before, welcome back to Forever Arsenal with the three you actually want. It's Lee, it's Turkish. I know you're watching this, Jordan, as well, because you watched the last one, so I'm really sorry. Look forward to seeing you on the next
didn't
pod.
watch the last one, production.
No.
Ryan, he does what he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he likes to stir, doesn't he, Ryan? Yeah, fair enough. He's definitely watching that too. Anyway, welcome back to the preview. It's Newcastle vs Arsenal, St James's Park. It's one of the trips in the season that I actually dread the most, if I'm honest. I feel like it's one place we've had a pretty terrible record. I think we've lost our last 3. I think it's 4 of the last 5. Something like that. It's never a particularly open affair. It's never a particularly eventful game, but it's not one that Arsenal often find themselves on the right side on. I'm here with Turkish and Lee, as we mentioned. Lee, I know that big game is thrown around a lot. This really actually does feel like one there.
Oh yeah, massive game. Massive game. After last week, I think this is massive. And you could quite rightly say, like, we haven't done well up there in the last few years. I don't think we've scored in the last few years neither. Like, you know, I mean, I can't remember. Definitely not in the last two.
You're right, we
seasons.
haven't. We didn't in the Carabao Cup 2-0 defeat. Yeah. Last season in the league, we lost 1-0. The year before that, we lost 1-0 in the league too. It
was with the ball over the line, wasn't it? So it'd been the year before that when I think we won 2-0 towards the back end of last season, which was a fantastic performance. Yeah. But the pressure was off because we'd really the league weren't there. And I don't know why. Well, it's a tough game because they're a good side. You know what I mean? But
do you know what? I think because, sorry to cut you, but I think everyone can stomach, while no one was happy about City, but I think people can stomach 3 wins, a defeat at Anfield can happen, a draw against City can happen, you're 5 points off Liverpool. I think people can somewhat stomach that. If you then go and beat Newcastle and it's 4 wins, a draw and a defeat, and you can kind of rationalise the draw and the defeat, and when you look at the run of games coming, you're going, okay, there's actually an opportunity there for Arsenal to build some momentum and put points on the board. The flip is so drastic that you don't win, and suddenly you've won half your games, and you're 7, maybe 8 points off Liverpool, and the picture of the season changes drastically in mid-September.
Yeah, and the other key to that is that Liverpool play before us, so we're going to know what it is. Now, if Liverpool were to lose or drop points against Crystal Palace, we don't want to be going up there and go, oh, let's be negative and make sure we've got to, you know,
we've got to build on that.
We've got to build on that, and then all of a sudden, if Liverpool do slip up, we're not saying that they will, but if they do, and we go and beat Newcastle, and all of a sudden you look at it, oh, it's only 2 points or 3 points.
Yeah. With the games we've had, the places
then
we've
you
gone,
think to yourself, no, that's not a bad little run that we've had. Like, so I think it's massive game. This I can't emphasise how big it is. I think we've got to go there and win. Is it a must win? Well, the way Liverpool are playing at the moment, every game's a must win. They're putting that pressure on. You know what I mean? So you have to say, look, we've got to go there. And the other thing is, James, which we have to take into account when you're going up against Liverpool, if it's going to be us 2 teams, they've gone there and won. Yeah. Don't matter how they've done it, the circumstances of it all, they've gone there and won. So we've got to do the same.
Turkish, does it feel like it's entered must-win territory already at this point in the season?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think the race starts until January, February, but I think in terms of the optimism that you're there come January, February, you can't fall 8 points behind potentially, you know, so early on. Regardless if it's game week 6 or not, it would be 8 points if Liverpool win and we lose. Even drawing 7 points is still a 3-game turnaround. So early in the season, when we're coming off the back of last season where we failed to build the runs we did in the previous 2 seasons that led to a title charge, you know, there might be some optimism there that we can build a run, but last season we actually failed to do that. So far this season, the football hasn't exactly, you know, exhilarated and changed our minds or lifted our spirits in terms of what we think we might end with come May. So it's a must win for me. It's a shame that it's that, but that's just due to the previous results, which, listen, you can lose at Anfield, I get that. I think we should have approached it a lot more proactively than we did, but the City one, I just can't get my head around. I still can't get my head around, and it's not like Port Vale really, you know, I looked at the lineup, I was excited. By the end of the game, I was struggling to stay awake. Yeah. You know, so it comes down to tactical system problems more than it does personnel.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about Newcastle then in more detail in terms of what we want to see from Arsenal, because You know, Arteta said things in press conferences that, if I'm honest, I just disagree with. To say things like we've got the most attacking goalkeeper, the most attacking centre-back, Mourinho last year was a 9. It's like no one was asking for Mourinho to be a 9. You know, no one thought that was... Look, it worked a little bit against Real Madrid, for example, or whatever, and he scored some goals. But...
He's talking a lot of shit, basically. And that's what it is.
You're saying what I'm trying to say.
He did it at the end of last season as well.
Say how you feel about it.
I mean, there's no point beating around the bush, is there, Lee? Come on.
No,
you know.
He's worrying what he was saying.
It's similar to the end of the season.
If I'm honest, it is a little concerning.
Because there's a hint of arrogance there, and it's not making sense at the same time. And when you mix, you're not making sense with arrogance, it comes across very stupid, right? Because you're right, he's acting like Mourinho's a 9, he's playing him in midfield all of a sudden. That's how he came across. Mourinho's not a 9, mate. Just because you played him there for 10 games doesn't make him a 9. You know, let's go back to the issue of why he had to play there, you know, with the squad depth then, if we want to really delve into it, because that is the issue, not that, you know, you're playing an attacking goal. It's all nonsense. He done it after the Champions League. He said we were the best team in the Champions League after getting knocked out, beaten over 2 legs by PSG, who were the best team in the Champions League. When he's been under pressure in terms of he's now there as a manager that is expected to win stuff, hasn't won stuff but expected to. This is the end of last season and beginning of this season is the first bit of pressure he's been under media wise, and it's not really that much pressure either. It's a little question here or there. He was asked about starting Marino, Zubimendi and Rice against City, and look at his answers. You don't ask me against Bilbao. You know, it's just like, come on, Mikel, man. You know why people are asking this. Surely you understand, because dominating is not possession, in my opinion. Dominating is chances, shots, you know, how much pressure you're putting on the opponent. But he's putting it across that dominating, and CEOs and presidents are calling him. Come on, man.
And it's also, when you say about domination and everything like that, the opposition are letting you have that, because they're saying, right, we'll let you have that because you're not hurting us. So there's a little thing about that. And the other thing about it, which no one questions, playing a 9 is completely different to playing as a 10. Because when you're playing in a false 9, you're bringing players into the play with your back to goal, which he does very well. I know he has done very well. But you're not creating. You're keeping possession. It's possession based again. So he's done that very, very well. Then you're asking him then to be in the little pockets and make and create nothing. There's a completely different role to playing a 9 as a 10. But, you know, I don't know where he goes from that point of, you know, like saying to us, well, you know, we played better in this game than we did when we beat them 5-1. You know what I mean? Come on, you've got to, you know, like just, I don't know.
Take risks.
Yeah, I think, how does all this leave us feeling going to Newcastle and what he'll probably do for that game?
The same.
So you think we're going to see Mourinho again in midfield?
Well,
and there will be a whole Predict 11 video, but...
Robbie's said it earlier on in the Invincibles, and I have been over there praying that Odegaard's fit for this game, because Robbie said, you know, the other option that he can play in midfield is a player that played yesterday.
Norgard.
He could play Norgard in there instead of Mourinho, so it'd be Norgard, Rice and Zubimendi. It could be that line.
That would be even...
Well, yeah, but...
That's actually 3 6s. I mean, Mourinho, he's a defensive... Like, he's in the squad because of what he does defensively more than anything. But he's not a DM or a 6. But Norgard actually is a 6. I mean, that would be like...
Yeah, but James, this... me and Marty, he's over there, he's bigger than me, so I ain't going to say too much, but like, we argued about the midfield last week, you know what I mean? He felt it was the right midfield against Man City. The midfield, with the way that they are and their physicality in there, this midfield of playing them three suits this game more than it done at home against Man City. When you look, Joe Linton played yesterday, I was hoping that he wouldn't be fit in time, but he's obviously going to be, so he's very physical. You know, Tonali's no, you know, and Bruno's very physical.
And
so he's going to look at that and go, well, I can't play Wanyeri because it's going to be too physical. I can't play Eze in there because it's too physical. So who can I play?
Yeah, but Arteta's in a position where, I'm sorry, you've done that against Newcastle already, and they've beaten us at that. So what are you going to do different? Because we've just said we ain't scored against them in how many games. Last season, Carabao Cup was embarrassing. We played teams to go up against them, right? Arteta's built a physical team. So he's already tried and tested that against Newcastle, and that is their forte. Especially in midfield. So what are you going to do that's different? In my opinion, that's what needs to be done now.
But when we beat them 2-0, he said the words. He said, if you try to have a physical game against Newcastle, you're not going to win. So we had to get our technical players on the pitch. That's why Jorginho started. Zinchenko played well that day. Ødegaard scored. So where's he gone from that? That's what confuses me. That was genius insight. He went to St James's Park, a team where, at a time where lots of teams struggled. They got Champions League football, they got to a Carabao Cup final that year. They were very, very, very good. And he played them off the park. Well, maybe not. There was a lot of defending. We had to dig deep, sure. But there was a lot of really good football that day. And I'm just really... Kivior, I think, got one of his first starts at right centre-back. It wasn't all perfect for him. But they dug deep, they got their ball players on the pitch, and they beat them. And since then, he's moved away from that. It's really strange. But you showed us the answer.
Well, we'll see what he does. He's in a predicament because he goes with the say, if he done what I think he should have done against City, and that's play Eze on Ranieri in the 10, then I would have gone into this game saying, yeah, I'd get it if he plays that midfield against Newcastle. I'd get it more because, horses for courses, right? But now he's done that second time in a row. It hasn't worked. Let's be serious. It hasn't worked, really. Even against Bilbao, he mentions Bilbao. It took 70th minute subs to come on and win that game. For 70 minutes, we did it. It was fair game, 0-0. Yeah, so even that, it's an illusion. So anytime we've played that midfield three, we've faced problems in chance creation. And also, we've conceded 2 goals out of those 3 games too, which if you're putting all those eggs in that basket, I mean, that is not good reading either.
I also feel like the conversation is not nuanced enough, and we might have talked about some further Arsenal, but no one's saying you can't win games with Rice, Zubimendi, Marino as your midfield 3. But if you're going to have that as your 3, then you need more creativity either in your wingers or in your wide players. So if you want to build up Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Zubimendi, Marino as a shield, with, say, White, Saka, Gyökeres, Eze, and Calafiori as your attacking 5 or something, that can hurt Newcastle. You're getting Saka and Eze more in the pockets. You've got some supply next to Gyökeres. You've got overlapping fullbacks. There's plenty there. What you don't want is Timber and Calafiori. To be fair, I think they tried to get up the pitch, but I don't think it comes too naturally to Timber. Ultimately, they're playing City, so they're not going to get too high up either. You've still got your wingers on the touchline, so there's no one near Gyökeres. There's not a natural 10 near him. That's where that midfield 3 is never going to work. Also, you've got Marino doing touchline shifts because he's trying to alternate with our right winger, and it comes awkwardly to him. Whereas you put him left centre mid and Rice right centre mid, then maybe you've got a little bit more variety there. So no one is saying that midfield 3 couldn't possibly ever work, but it's got to be. It's about the dynamics. It's about the. And I know I don't know. Obviously, I don't know anything about football tactics like Mikel Arteta, but Jurgen Klopp does, and that's how he set up his team, or certainly does to a level. That's how he got the best out of that profile of midfield. So I don't know why we're not more willing to tweak the way we use our players. I don't know. It's weird to me.
It is a difficult one because, this midfield, I know, it feels like you're contradicting yourself a little bit. I don't want to see that midfield at home. That's the end of it. But away from home, I can understand it a little bit more. But as he put himself into a hole now, where by doing it against City, he can't do it now against. But it would seem more appropriate to do it against Newcastle.
What happened to just getting our best players on the pitch?
Well,
do you know what I mean? What happened to just... Ranieri's a better footballer than Marino. Eze's a better footballer than Marino and Trossard and Martinelli. Why can't we just get them on the pitch and show, after this many years, after this... I don't remember City ever going away and going, we should probably go Rodri and Fernandinho for this game because... at what point do we go, no, we want to be at the top because we believe we're better than the rest of the 19 below us, so let's put a team on the pitch that reflects that.
Listen, James, couldn't agree with you more. We were talking about this yesterday. Name a weak link in the Arsenal team.
Yeah, or squad. I don't think we have one now.
We haven't got one. So what is the weakness? It's mentality. It's the manager as well. Listen, if you're a player I don't know, you're an Eze, you're a Ranieri and whatever, or even one of the top guys. Right, we're playing Manchester City today. but we're going to go defensive. What does that tell you? Like, you're not trusting us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there's a mentality block. You've got to get over that. And I think that, listen, if Mikel was to go up there, put Eze in the 10, which I think most of us would go with, or Odegaard or a Wanyeri, and get the result, I think it would be not just a statement of winning that game, but it was like, do you know what? We fancy us.
Yeah.
I do think that Arsenal have got a mentality thing at this moment in time of getting up. And for us to get over the line, you've got to break that. You've got to break that mould of being too cautious at times. I don't like the way, when he was laughing and joking about the handbrake and all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we want to see. We want to see Arsenal free flame. We want to see Arsenal. And listen, at the end of the day, if he goes up there in that midfield and we win 1-0, you ain't going to get the complaints. You might get the complaints that it's not entertaining and all that. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather win. I want to win. Yeah. I enjoy winning more than I do being entertained. I'll be honest. You know what I mean?
But you know what? It's so to pause you there, yeah. And I said this yesterday on my channel. This is the 3rd season we're saying that now. And that's where it starts becoming jarring. And by that, I mean, at the start of the season, we're looking at the football, but we're saying, listen, if we win, it doesn't matter about the football. And both seasons we haven't. That's why now it's the 3rd season. I'm still with you. If we win, I don't mind the football.
Yeah, but you got to win.
Chances are that the last 2 seasons we haven't, and we've regressed over those last 2 seasons. So what's the likelihood that even if we go play that midfield, win away 1-0 at Newcastle, that we're not going to trip up later down the line anyway?
Yeah, and that's so, listen, and you're totally right, Turkish. If Mikel plays this way, wins the league, everybody's going to go, don't matter. Then once you've won the league, then the next season you can maybe be a little bit more expensive, But if he doesn't win it by playing this, he's putting himself under a huge amount of pressure. Yeah. Huge amount of pressure.
Let's go through the injury news. Jacob Ramsey, Johan Wissa aren't expected to be available, nor Fabian Schär. Anthony Gordon did play in last night's game, I believe, in their 4-1 win against Bradford. And we just double check. Yeah, he did start. They went for a 4-3-3 in that game, as they did against Newcastle, but it was a back 5 against Bournemouth. So we don't really know exactly what they're going to do. But you mentioned Joe Linton is back. I know he started, so yeah. Interesting. We'll see. And Newcastle have lost at home to Liverpool and Barcelona, but there was a real energy and tenacity about what they did in those games. And I felt that they did try to chase those teams. And yeah, Pedri was brilliant, and Barcelona won, and Newcastle, they had a man sent off and they fought valiantly. I just think whatever happens, it's going to be quite a scrappy affair in which Arsenal are going to have to. It's going to sound a bit cringe, but win it on heart as much as tactics and anything else. They're going to have to really
bravery. If you look back at that Barcelona game, I watched the game, I don't know if you guys did as well, but I did. First 20-25 minutes, Newcastle were much a better side.
They look good, yeah.
But Barcelona kept to their principles. They didn't change. They just said, right, we'll ride that out and then we'll let our game take over. It's exactly what they did. That's what Arsenal got to do. They've got to believe, trust your back 4, which is what Barcelona did. Trust your attacking players that are on the pitch to defend and get into shape, right? Trust them, and then eventually you can get your game going. Yeah. I don't think that we're at that stage yet where we trust our attacking players to defend and get into shape. Because if he did, he wouldn't be playing different players in there. And I think that that's the case. So we're at a stage now, 2-3 years on, second, that we should be able to say, do you know what? Yeah. We can trust that. I can trust you to go and do it. Yeah. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Barcelona. I was so impressed with Barcelona because they could have been 2-0 down. Could have been, if Newcastle take their chances. Didn't panic. Keep doing what we do.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get some score predictions then. Turkish, what are we going for?
Not feeling good, lads. I'm just going to say 1-1. And that's not good in itself, but I'm just going to go with that.
Are we sticking with these on Forever Arsenal?
Well, I said 1-1. I do think that, but I've always got to try and see if we can nick a goal. I'm going to say 1-0, 2-0, but in my heart, I think it'll be a draw. And then at the end of the day, circumstances going to Newcastle away from home, a draw ain't a bad result, guys.
Can I make 2 predictions? If it's Marino, I think we lose 1.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing, like, you're going to have to pick this team I think with the team that he's going to pick, I think it's got a draw written all over it. But if he was to be brave, I think we could go and win now.
I think we'll win 1-0. I don't think it'll be pretty. I think questions like the football will still be there. But I think we'll come away with...
I don't care how we play in this game. Like, you know what I mean? I moaned that I was bored yesterday. It's Port Vale, we're in League One. You know what I mean? I do feel that we should have gone there and entertained a little bit more. But I will say, if we go up there and get the result, it's all about the result for me on Sunday. Just get the result.
Port Vale was a real worry. We played a good enough attack to see better than we saw, and that highlighted that it's more a Mikel problem than a team selection problem.
Yeah, because we had Eze and Wanyeri in there.
They was actually picking up the half spaces, but when the ball was getting to them, with Marino as striker, basically no one there for them to play in behind, swift foot, and there's no patterns of play. It's just very like Newcastle played top of League One. They smoked them 4-1. You know, Man City played 7th in League One. They beat them 2-0 away. Their XG was higher than 1 if you're one of them merchants out there. They had about 17 shots, 7 on target. I didn't watch the highlights, but when you read that, you know that they was all over them. But guess what? We had the most possession out of all the fixtures, but the least shots on target.
81% was it?
Tottenham played
Doncaster. Yeah.
They're also higher than Port Vale in League One, and Tottenham more shots, more XG, more shots on target, just about. We're out of all those 4 fixtures yesterday, every team played a League One side. We had the least shots on target, the least XG, but the most possession. That doesn't sit well. That doesn't sit well because you go 1-0 down, 2-0 down to a team. What happens then? I haven't seen anything to know we can switch it on, and we could go 1-0 down at St James Park. What happens then?
We lose 1-0.
We moan about them doing a low block for the next 70 minutes. That's football. We've done it. It's football.
All right, the predictions are in. 1-0 win for me. You're going, what did you say again?
I think it'd be a draw. 1-1.
Draw, 1-1, and you said?
1-1.
1-1. All right, there we go.
I'll change it for forever though, probably, because he's above me, so he's going to get first pick.
It might be different on Forever Arsenal. All right, everyone. Big thanks for joining us. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to AFTV. And we'll be back with a Forever Arsenal after the Newcastle game as well, so look out for that. We hope it's a win that we can celebrate. There'll be a Predict 11 video with Laurie joining us as well, where we're going to give what we think is going to be the starting 11 Mikel Arteta goes with, and I think there'll be a particular midfield that we're not so keen on, but let's see. It's all about the midfield combinations. We'll find out in that video. Catch you in a bit.